Boys and girls, what is going on? My name is Lan today, and for you guys, getting another video, and this is a pretty big bombshell that was just dropped on the competitive scene. NaDeSHoT, Mr. Optic NaDeSHoT has officially picked up King Poppy, and they will be under the roster, and actually under a new organization known as 100 Thieves. Now, this is absolutely insane, because NaDeSHoT, obviously everyone knows of NaDeSHoT, taking a leave of absence, basically kind of retiring from competitive Call of Duty, has always said that he's really interested in the COD scene. He'd always loved to kind of own his own team. Now, he even mentioned in his video, which I'll have this entire video linked down in the description if you guys are curious, he kind of goes more in depth with about starting his own team, his thoughts on doing so, and also kind of gives a little bit more details on the roster, but we'll be covering that in this video, of course. But NaDeSHoT, like I said, over a long time has always talked about wanting to pick up his own roster, and obviously King Poppy, a very unknown squad. People were curious who would pick up this team as far as organizations go. It was rumored, and even not rumored, but it was rumored for a while. Then COD kind of proved it and said, TK even offered them a spot. They said no, because they'd actually found a bigger offer. So off the start, that teams and organizations were definitely furying to want to get onto, a league team, because obviously King Poppy was the only squad who made it into Season 2, or Stage 2, without an organization behind them. This roster, for those who don't know, consists of players known by examples, Royalty, Nelson, and as well as Johnny. To give a little bit of a background on some of these guys, I remember some of you might know who they are, some of you might not know who they are. Most of you probably have heard of Royalty in the past, played for Epsilon for the longest time, Epsilon and A, played alongside of Swanee, got a little bit more experience back with the TR guys, and unfortunately as the time went on, he kind of took a little bit of a break from the competitive scene, and ended up finishing and doing some work over the Canadian scene. Examples, who's played for teams like Threes Up in the past, hasn't really got his main spot into the competitive light yet, but also teamed with Velocity at UMG South Carolina alongside of like Ego, even Lamagod, I think also Mochilla as well. Johnny, he used to play for, I believe, alongside of Nelson, over on a team known as Jester for the longest time. Those guys had some good moments here and there. I believe they were the top 4 teams at UMG South Carolina as well. He kind of departed from that roster along with Nelson for a short time. Many people probably know of Nelson. He's kind of like a louder person in the competitive scene. Definitely has very high emotion side to him, but definitely is a very good player in his own regard. Picking up this team, this is definitely not necessarily a risk, but it is a massive step into what is NaDeShot's now stepping point. What is now his overall view on the competitive scene? Because he goes from obviously being a pro player, being a competitive player, and now is picking up an own organization to run them, and also to kind of be, in some ways, a leader for this team in some ways. In my opinion, I was looking at the King Poppy, formerly known as King Poppy roster for the longest time, and I was a little bit curious. I was like, these guys are new. These guys haven't really had this particular outbreak for the longest time. They've really never had this experience before. I was like, they're going to need a leader. They're going to need someone who kind of takes in control of this team and is going to have to step up. And I was like, maybe roster changes have to be in play to kind of lead them a little bit. But it seems, and we've even seen in the past, teams like Team Revenge or even teams like Noble, who have been younger players and they've rose to the ranks, especially TR, for example, who in some ways, as far as Ghost was, coming from the previous title, weren't known in any way, and then ended up being, a runner-up at COD Champs to Denial. TR ended up finishing second. So we've had little glimpses here and there. But as far as this King Poppy roster went, I think honestly having a backing of one of the most popular, if not the most popular Call of Duty pro player of all time backing you and showing that he has, in some ways at least, confidence in you and also is trying to promote you as well, this is just, I think, going to be a really good step. Regardless of how you feel about NaDeShot, how you feel about this roster in general, I think honestly this is a really good step for this team. There were rumors, like I said, of TK joining this team. Denial was a massive rumor kind of spreading around that they would be joining this team as well. I know they got a lot of offers, but it seems that NaDeShot is very, very passionate about wanting to do this. And like I said earlier, they will be now known under the name of 100 Thieves, competing in the Call of Duty World League Stage 2. Obviously this is the biggest, for those who may not know, this is the absolute biggest opportunity for any team being in the ANZ, EU, or NA regions, composed of 12 teams who play in 22 different matches. Those top 8 will obviously go to the playoffs and eventually get, in some ways, a certain spot into Call of Duty Championship. So this roster has a lot of potential around them. Really excited to see how this team ends up doing. Royalty, to me, is definitely a player to be watching out for this roster, and I'm just really excited to see what comes with this. And something to kind of keep in mind as well as time does move on is that as pro players start to develop and start to maybe even depart from the scene, we've seen players like TP, Merc, Burnzov, even players like Perplexed, and even guys in the past being like NaDeShot, Bing, Merc, Rambo, those guys, and so on and so forth. You'll start to see players start to come back back, and I think it's really interesting to see the evolution of one generation of players kind of meeting back with the new generation of players, the current generation of players, which probably is some of these guys in their own regard. So if you guys are curious, if you guys really want to, make sure to go down in the description and click on NaDeSHOT's video if you guys are curious. I'll also put down 100 Thieves' Twitter. Make sure to follow them as well, because they will be a competing team in Stage 2, and they've obviously earned their spot. So guys, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this team under this organization, NaDeSHOT, in some ways coming back to the competitive scene with, and you know, obviously funding and being a part of this new organization. I want to know your guys' thoughts, and if you guys did enjoy the video, also make sure to leave a like. And for future content, I'll definitely be uploading a lot of stuff. We got the patch updates, got MLG being back in the competitive scene, and also my roster preview for Stage 2, which actually starts up tomorrow for me. As far as the 19th, it starts that day. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video yet again. I will see you all later. Have a fantastic day. Until next time, peace out.